Hello, I'm Lori Wilkinson. Welcome back to our 4th episode of Aging Well in Wadsworth. This is Your Life, filmed right here at the Suprema Senior Center. And today I am so excited to welcome our special guest, Stephanie. And go ahead and give us your full name.
Oh, I'm Stephanie Saniga, and
welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
So this is going to be all about you, and I want to start, where were you born and where did you grow up?
I was born in Cuyahoga Falls, a community that's really similar to Wadsworth in a lot of ways, and it was a great childhood. And then when I was 13 years old, I got a baby sister, and she was in the same bedroom as me, so we kind of needed to move because I was going into high school, and whenever I wanted to be in my room, she would be asleep. So we moved to Green, and I grew up and went through high school at Green High School.
Nice. So you went to Green High School. That's another great community. So you had 2 really nice childhood communities.
Yeah.
So what happened after high school? Where did life take you?
Of all things, I started working in the record department at Clarkins, which a lot of people still remember, over on Arlington Road, Clarkins. But got really interested in simultaneously photography and rock and roll. My dad had an interest in photography through my whole life, so I kind of picked up on that from him, I think. And I got my first camera so that I could take pictures of George Harrison, and then he canceled.
So did you take your camera on the road or did you just do local photography? You mentioned music, so.
Yes. Well, I started photographing anybody who came to the Cleveland, Akron area, and this was in the 70s, the mid to late 70s. So that was when the Coliseum was there. You might not even remember that, Lori. That might be. I tore it down, you know.
Yeah, I did not move to the Wadsworth area until 1997.
Okay,
so
that's what I was thinking.
Yeah. Okay.
But I started shooting rock and roll, and back in those days, you had to, fight your way up to the front to get a good shot, and so I did.
So did you end up doing a career? Did you get paid for taking photography, or was it just a fun hobby?
Kind of both. You would never consider it a full-time income, but it was super fun. And at a certain point, I did get affiliated with a magazine out of New York, and
wow.
But that was also how I met my husband, which was really, really interesting because his sister was the art director of this magazine, and she came to Akron, and she said, "Well, you really ought to meet my brother," and gave me his number, and I thought, I'm not going to call this person. You didn't do that back then. And she told him the same thing. So he came and found me at the record department, and he came in with his his cousin's little boy, who was like 3 at the time and adorable. And how could you not fall for a guy like that? And it was kind of love at first sight. So
was it really?
Yeah, it really, really was. It really was.
So how did you go on the first date? Like, what happened? Love at first sight, that doesn't happen for everybody.
No, and I just knew he was the one. He was just a wonderful person, just really very quiet, and yet really good sense of humor, and tall and good looking, all those kinds of things. He happened to have a store in Highland Square, and they had all kinds of handcrafted items, and they even had a few artisans that worked there in the store. And he said, well, we wouldn't mind selling your pictures, So that's how we first started.
That's
you know.
so neat.
Yeah, it
So,
was fun.
love at first sight, how long did it take for you to get engaged and get married?
3 years.
3 years.
Yeah,
Okay.
it took a good long time. It really did.
Okay.
But yeah, so we got married and moved to Sharon Center. He was in the printing industry, and had actually studied graphic design at Akron U and photography by that time. And because I had these pictures of these rock stars, I got a job out at Pro Arts Advertising, which was the company in Medina that did the Farrah Fawcett poster.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I don't know if you remember that.
Yes, because the people had her, I mean, there was guys that would pin up her
Oh, yeah.
picture
Oh, yeah.
in their bedrooms. So.
It was amazing how that thing took off.
Oh, wow.
So I started working there, and just in their art department and things, and that's how we ended up moving out this direction.
Okay.
So he was working in Copley, and I was working in Sharon Center, or in Medina. So we moved to Sharon Center for a
That's
couple of years,
interesting.
and then moved to Wadsworth.
Okay, so what brought you to Wadsworth? And what year was that? Do you remember?
That was 1980.
1980,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, first we rented a house for a couple of years, and then we went looking. It was just time, you know. Our friends were buying houses, so I guess we should too, you know. I've never been much of a planner. I've always kind of, you know, a present moment kind of person. But we bought the first house we looked at, and I have lived there for 42 years now.
That's where you live today.
That's where I live today.
And that was your first home.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
We looked at a couple more just so that, you know, we weren't just doing it impulsively. It still kind of was, but, you know, even my mom, when she first walked in this house, she said, I have a really good feeling about this place. I think a lot of good things have happened here.
That's so
and it has
neat.
been.
Wow.
It has been. So that's how we ended up in Wadsworth. You know, a lot of people are looking for the school system or these different things. We wanted a little bit of land.
Okay.
And this was an older house, 1928, and beautiful, beautiful. So we just fell for it right away. They had dropped the price the week before, so it was in our range. Otherwise, they wouldn't have shown it to us.
Wow.
You know,
Well, it was obviously meant to be.
it was meant to be.
Now, did you have kids at this point before you bought
No,
the
not
house?
yet.
No.
No,
Okay,
not
so tell
yet.
us, you know, when did the kids start coming along?
We didn't have our first daughter until 1986.
Okay.
So we had some years there to work on this place a little bit, you know, and it's and then we had Caitlin, a huge blessing in the family, and then Chris was about 18 months afterwards.
Okay. So
Yeah.
you were going through a busy time of life
We
then.
were in a busy time of life, very busy, yeah. And then we had a third child, Holly, a few years later. She was born in 92,
Okay.
so that's getting more into your range of years. And then my husband got sick. He got shingles in his face,
Oh, wow.
in this quadrant of his face, and since he was 37, they didn't catch it when he went to the emergency room.
Wow. Because you don't hear of younger people getting shingles.
Right.
Wow.
You do a little bit more now than back then, but no, they never suspected that, so they sent him back home, you know, and said, see your doctor in the morning if you're not feeling better, but it looks like a sinus infection to us. And the next morning he walked, when the doctor walked through the door, he didn't even have his hand off the doorknob, and he said, you've got shingles.
Oh, wow.
But by then it was too late
Oh, wow.
to treat it. So he suffered a lot. He suffered for 18 years.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
pretty excruciating, constant pain. Yeah, he really had a hard time. And of course that shaped our lives. And that's why I always say it was a good thing I wasn't a planning kind of person, because we could never plan anything, because we never knew when he was going to feel good enough to participate. When he did, he was 200% there. He was 200% dad. He was great. But then a lot of the time he just had to withdraw. And, and be honest, unfortunately, I mean, I didn't know we were going to get into all this, but I will say, fortunately, he worked for the Roar Corporation down on 57 in Seville Road.
Nice local company.
Wonderful place. They were so good to us. They were really so good to us. So he continued to work for 12 years, but when he could.
Okay.
And how many employers would allow that?
Right. Well, at the same time, I know you ended up working locally. Tell us about where did life take you with your job?
Well, that's kind of what happened. Up until that point, after we had the kids, I was doing freelance work and things, which worked really nicely because, he had a full-time job and he had insurance, but all of a sudden, I needed something that was a little more steady with a predictable paycheck. And it was about that time that I heard that there was an opening at City Hall. So I interviewed with Caesar Carino, which was a great experience, a great man.
Was he the mayor
He
then?
was the mayor.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you remember what year this was?
That was, I should. What's over 20 years ago?
And if not, that's okay. That's okay.
Anyway, it was about 21 years ago, 22 years ago, because I worked for the city for about 20 years.
Right. That's where I ended up meeting you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, and what a great job. I loved that job.
Well, it was perfect for you. I mean, how lucky were city residents getting to, call City Hall and end up on the phone with you, because you're so helpful, you're so kind, you were very good. It was a great job.
It was a great job, and it was a job I shared with somebody else the whole time, so it was part-time. But we really took that responsibility seriously, because we were the first line of attack, kind of, when people would call and have a problem, just by listening to them and, maybe inserting a comment here or there, we could a lot of times get people to calm down by the time they got to the person they actually needed to talk to.
Sure.
And then a lot more is accomplished. So, and I really kind of took that also as a mission. It was a good place to meet all kinds of people. I used to joke and say, well, eventually I meet everybody that's in town, because they either end up coming in to pay their utility bill or to go to court, and we kind of sat right in the middle. But it was a really wonderful place to live out what came to be my ideal in life, which was to love your neighbor as yourself, So, I really made it my goal to make eye contact with every single person who walked through the door and say good morning or something, how can we help you? And it was just great. Yeah. Nice. Plus, we typed all the minutes.
That's right. You were a very fast typist. Sure.
I was not so fast, but I really looked at it as a puzzle, because we had to take sometimes disjointed conversations and make it proper grammar, and proper sentence structure. And then we got to learn everything that was going on in town.
Sure.
So that was really awesome, So, and met tons of interesting, wonderful, helpful people and resources for life, you know?
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That really is. So now you've retired. It's been a couple years now.
Couple years now.
Right. So as an active senior in Wadsworth, what do you do with your time? I know there's little furry friends that you're involved with.
Yes, yes. Yes, I did. Having a dog was a very important thing to me. I got the dog that I had for 14 years right after my husband passed away. He passed away in 2010.
And that was Cowboy.
That was
I've
Cowboy.
met Cowboy, okay.
Yep, and a lot of people in Wadsworth met Cowboy because he was really special.
And he was
really
a therapy dog, right?
Yes,
so
he
you
was.
used him to be able to help others.
Right. We
And
went
volunteered,
to a lot of
right?
the senior living facilities and visited people, and a few times we went to the library and you let the children read to the dog. But just going any place with him, he was just an ambassador of goodwill. He really was. He really was. And when he was gone, it was kind of like, well, gosh, who am I now? Nobody knew me, they knew my dog,
Aww.
So I have a new friend now, and I'm trying to bring her into the world of being a pet instead of just being a mom, because she was a dog used for breeding.
And you've truly rescued her, and she's so lucky to have found your home.
I like to think so. Even though she escapes every chance she gets, but I think it's just her instinct,
Yes.
And a big turnaround was last week when she ran away, and she came back.
That's good.
She came back. It was like a miracle.
That's awesome.
So, yeah.
And then I know photography you shared, that was one of your first loves, was photography. You fell in love with, that, and had an ability, obviously, if you were, published in a magazine and things like that. But you still have a photography business. And what is it called?
It's called Kaleidoscope Photographics. Yes, and I do portraits and senior pictures, family pictures, newborns, some weddings, not as many weddings as I used to, but it's still fun to connect with people. And something I love probably even more than anything is shooting events. And one of my favorite events is the senior ball, the Royal Ball.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
So you volunteer your time for the Senior Center.
Yes.
So we're very thankful for
Yes.
that. And you take amazing photos.
I love to catch people having fun, looking good and having fun, And yeah, it's really great. And it's great to be able to give back a little bit too.
Absolutely. We appreciate you sharing your talent with us, and that's so important, is having volunteers here at the Suprema Senior Center. How has the Suprema Senior Center impacted your life?
Well, I was lucky enough at the very end of my time with City Hall. It was at the end of COVID, as you remember, and you needed somebody basically to be a presence here, so that if you had to go somewhere else, there would still be somebody that's connected with the city in some way. So I was able to do the same job that I did at City Hall, but to do it from here in the Senior Center. And that was great. That was great because I got to meet all the people here and learn about all the programming and everything. So one of the things that I would say really helped me a whole lot was something I was fearful of, and that was how to navigate the Medicare issue and how to get things set up like that. So that Medicare 101 was super helpful, and the health fairs super helpful, and so impacting my life in other ways just has been coming to a place where when you walk in the door, people greet you, they know your name. It's kind of like the old Cheers thing. It's nice to go somewhere where everybody knows your name.
That's it really
is.
Really
so
fun.
Whenever I'm home alone, which I enjoy a lot of the time, but sometimes, it's kind of nice to be out and about with others. It's always good to come here. And
you take one of the classes.
Oh, yeah. I've taken the class from Ann Kellish's watercolor class for several years now.
Yeah, before you retired, you were off Tuesdays, so you made it sure you were able to come and take the class.
Right. And that's been a wonderful class. And I've done some of the poetry workshops and with Karen Elvin.
Sure,
Those have been really fun.
Very talented woman.
And then the crafty group.
Claire's Craft Friend.
Crafty Friends.
They
It's
meet,
kind of a tongue twister.
Fridays at noon.
Yes, love
they
that
welcome
group too.
everybody. They just embrace everybody.
They really do. And just, I know if I come here, I can have a fun conversation with somebody and a lot of laughs, So, and it's also nice too that you're connected with the Y.
Sure.
By hallway, maybe not necessarily by, infrastructure or whatever, but it's nice to come up here and exercise too.
And you park once, and you don't have to leave the building.
It's true.
Literally, right? So
It's true.
that's nice.
So it's really nice. But everything that you folks put on up here is wonderful. So I've enjoyed a lot of things, a lot of the bigger events too.
Well, today you were just here a little bit ago. We had muffins with the mayor, and wow, that was, this place was packed. We're sitting in the cafe. I think almost every chair was taken. We added more tables and chairs and had about 100 people here, and getting to hear from our mayor is always wonderful. Yeah, I learned new things. I
learned a lot of new things. I mean, she is sharp.
Sure,
and always has been. It was a pleasure working in her administration. It really was.
So, I can imagine. She's such a wonderful leader.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. Well, this show is about you and your life. Is there anything else you would like to share with us?
Oh, well, I know you had me think about the idea of aging well in Wadsworth, and I thought of a few things that I think are important to all of us as we get a little bit older.
Yes, please share.
The first one I would say would be that now I would say at the end of the day, if I can look back and say, is there anybody that I helped in some way? That means it was a better day. It's really good to have a chance to give to someone somehow. And even if it's a smile, even if it's just, small talk with somebody that you really didn't know, that's one of the things I think I would say is, let's see, I wrote a few things down here. Get outside. Get outside, get into the fresh air, get into the trees, get into the sunshine, and get moving, walk and move and dig in the garden and do as much as you can in those ways. Get a pet.
I love that.
Pets are wonderful. Pets are wonderful. They really are such good companions. And get to know people. This was something that we always used to laugh, because whenever we went anywhere with my mom, where'd she go? Where'd she go? She's always talking to somebody that we didn't even know. But you know what? That was a real lesson. It's like, talk to people. If you're standing in line somewhere, talk to the person next to you. We build up these little invisible walls with people, and really there's so much to learn and enjoy and appreciate about others. So
that is so true.
It really is.
That is great advice. You've got some really good words of wisdom there, Stephanie. I love it. I love it.
Well, my kids look at me now the same way we used to look at my mom, and I hope that they eventually come to that realization too.
Absolutely.
Most people are good people, and especially in this town.
Yeah. It is. It's such a nice community, and
it's a wonderful community.
And our time together is almost up, but I know you have one new title that, can you share? What's that?
Grandma.
You're a grandma.
I'm a grandma.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And how old is your little one?
He is just 1 year old in about 3 weeks.
Oh, that's so exciting.
Yes.
As a fellow grandma, I know how important that first birthday is.
Oh my gosh, it was
awesome.
wonderful. He's way too far away, but Jack, his name is John Patrick, and they call him Jack. And
Aw.
Jack is going to be coming to Ohio this weekend, so we're real excited.
Oh, that's exciting. Well, congratulations on being a grandma. Thank you so much for
you.
joining us on the show today.
You're so welcome.
Really appreciate
Always
it.
a pleasure to talk to you, Lori.
Aw, well, you joined for a little fireside chat today. Our fire actually went out because it's summertime, right?
Right.
So thank you for listening to this Aging Well in Wadsworth episode. If you'd like to share your story, please reach out to Lori Wilkinson and we'll talk about getting you on the show as well. Have a great day. Thank you, Stephanie.
Thank you, Lori. Thank you.
You are watching WCTV, Wadsworth Community Television.